Good morning. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here today. This is the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vickie Helm. And today we are going to talk about something that is going to be empowering and one of the best secrets you can know about life. And we're going to cover that in three. Look at this. 3, 2, 1. That was my best Janet Jackson. All right, let's go. Welcome to the Coffee Break Show. If you've never been here before, we go live Monday through Friday, and we are all about talking about the secrets and tips and things that help motivate and inspire. And all of the time, we help create thrivability. This show, the Coffee Break Show, is brought to you by the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. And this is brought to you by the Metadigm Digital Network. And I want to say thank you for being here. I see you guys coming on board. Hi, good morning. We have a hello from Karen. So nice to see you this morning. Glad you came on. And so I want to continue today by saying that I see you guys popping on. Put your names down below. Want to say good morning to you. If you're new here, you're probably going to see something above here that says StreamYard. When StreamYard/Facebook, if you click on it, click the blue button. It allows me to see your name and who you are. Good morning there and welcome aboard. Today, I want to talk about something I think is going to be stellar important for the future. It is going to be the most important thing. And you know how you always hear the term, take your power back. How do we take our power back? And we're all feel as though some of our power has been dispelled by putting, our thing out, our energy out there, looking at everything there is to look at right now, whether it's politics, whether it's the protests, whether it's the COVID, no matter what, we have everything focused out in front of us. And you hear it's time to take your power back, take your power back, take your power back. And you know what? I got to be honest. I want to be upfront right now. Taking your power back is work. It's not some simple, easy thing you do. It's not like you take your power back and suddenly it's easy and it's fine. When we take our power back, it takes effort. And I mean a lot of effort. So what does it mean to take your power back? Well, I'll tell you, a lot of people call it being sustainable in the first place. They're like, take back your power. That means your power to grow food, your power to live off grid. I mean, those are some of the fundamental freedoms. But before we can start doing that, or maybe you're even starting doing that, you have to have a fundamental knowing that the power for you to be anything and anywhere in this world comes from within your beingness. So, you know how they say, if you become what you think, you become what you think. That means that you become whatever you're dwelling on right now, whatever you're dwelling on. And when you dwell on something, it starts to become part of you, whether that dwelling is believing, and then your attention starts trying to validate what you're dwelling on. That's the first thing. We talk about how to be responsible for ourselves. How do we be responsible for ourselves? Well, great. This is how we be responsible for ourselves. We understand that we become whatever we think, and that our mind is going to go out and validate what it is that we think. And why is that so dangerous now? Because when you start going on Google and you start going on wherever you're going and you're making comments and you're talking to people, Google and the algorithms are recording what you think. They're recording what you dwell on. And then they're going to start putting those things in front of you. They put all of those things in front of you. And you get to the point where you are dwelling on, and it validates what you're dwelling on. Good morning, my friend. My first morning power comes from back online with my cup of coffee. Thank you. Online power is always good when you get here. Look at this. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see. Thank you. So what happens is I have to take a sip I'm actually drinking tea this morning. I know. It's throwing you off. But the stomach is not dealing with coffee this morning. So anyway, here's the thing. You have to get really good at understanding what it means. What does it mean to take your power back? Take your power back. When you say take your power back, you mean take your attention back. It's like when you take your power back, you have to take your attention and actually place it on where you want to go instead of where the media wants you to go, or where the political parties want you to go, or wherever somebody else wants you to go. When you take your power back, it means you put you in charge of you. You put you in charge of your things. You put you in charge of your processes, your systems, your thinking, your outcomes. You become 100% responsible when you take your power back. And a lot of people don't understand that that's a lot of work. People talk about wanting to take their power back, but then when it comes to it, we want the easy road. We like the luxurious road. We want the road that is most traveled. When we take the road less traveled, when we take that point and we go out there and we work in the world, we're working inside the world, our eyes can be pulled everywhere. We're like, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. When we truly take our power back, we become more self-sufficient. We become, I like tea in Boston Harbor. Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. I'm not in Boston Harbor, but if I was, I'd be drinking tea. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, I left the video in there from Ray Dalio. It's only he did like an hour and a half talk that I listened all the way through. And part of it was clipped out. The parts that were clipped out is in that video. It's about 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And it's talking about what life is going to be like after this pandemic and crash and everything else. There's a lot of economists that are just saying, yeah, I don't think we're going to recover from this. So what does it mean to take your power back? What does it mean to be able to go forward with you in mind, with your choices in mind? It means that you have to become insular for a minute, like shut everything off and just sit in the quiet and ask yourself two questions. What do I want? And then the second question is, how am I going to get that? What do I want? And how am I going to get that? Because right now, if you take a look at how we've been working in 2020, and they say, well, it's going to be like about 1945. So, yesterday I thought 1945, I wasn't born yet, but I know somebody who was born in that era. And I went to them and I asked them and I said, okay, what is it in the era? What is this? What is this era? What do we want? What was it like? And she said, I remember that people were nicer, they were kinder. And I remember walking down the streets at 7 years old with ration stamps. And ration stamps allowed you to acquire butter, milk, meat. You could only have so much meat. There wasn't a lot of food there. But when you had your ration stamps, they became like a bartering system. You would save your butter if you didn't use as much butter, because butter was big and cream was big and milk was big. And I was like, I could see us having to ration food in the future as well. And I can also see that we become self-sufficient as well. There's a point where I think that every family is going to go back to like 1943, where we had victory gardens everywhere. And we talked about this before, and we talked about all of that. But when we say, let's take our power back politically, what does that mean? When we take our power back and we go back to 1945, what does that mean? It means that you're going to work harder for a little less money. And we have so much debt right now. He was like, one of the things that happens is once we stop being the reserve currency, it's how do we pay the bills we have? How do we rebuild the life we have? So I listened to another, I can't remember her name, but she said something that was very similar to me. She said, I think this whole pandemic thing is a way for them to collapse the economy, rebuild it, and kind of, write off some debt here and write off some debt there and move this here or there. One thing I know, and the reason I'm saying this is because I know that, Congress and those people, they have promised a lot. They promised a lot. But the delivery of that is completely different than the promise. And I've seen promises before by the government that ended in a big zero. Nobody got whatever they said they were going to get. Let's see. I like this. It's time to take our power back. This is not a time to sit back and wait. That's the whole point I'm telling you right now. It is an urgent time, an urgent call for everyone right now. If you're going to take back your power, what does that mean to you? Can you feed yourself? Can you medical yourself? Can we do? I know a lot of people think, no, we're going to rev up. These systems are going to be back in place. I'm not so sure of that. I'm not so sure that we can have them back in place in time enough before, it's kind of like the hourglass. You're pouring sand in while the hourglass is pouring sand down on the bottom. And is it going to get to the point where it's just sand going to the bottom and there's not really any sand being built up top? We have to take a look at the new times and new things that are being built in the world. And you have to know that you need to take your power back. And that means you got to take action now. Now, I know that we've gotten to the point where I would imagine we connected more because we had to rely on each other more. Couldn't just Google or Amazon a solution. That's right, we can't. It is, what's your reset strategy? This is really good. It's a reset strategy. And what is it? What are you going to do about that? Here's the thing. A lot of people think that the government is lying. I heard somebody tell me yesterday, if the government wasn't lying and would tell us that it was really a bacteria and not a virus, the government is lying. This thing is a hoax. It's not really going to make us sick. The government is lying. And great, let's say the government is just lying about everything. And let's say, look at this. There are precious few able to live in a world like this. Very, very few. That's right. And that's the point. It's like you have to take your power back right now. And unfortunately, if you haven't lived in 1945 and you're wondering what it was like back then, well, we had mercantiles. We didn't have grocery stores. The first grocery store, I think, came out in 1943 and only in big cities. And, it was vastly different back then. But I think what the government is talking about is food sources and things like that. Can you get yourself fed and can you get a job? And I don't mean a job. I really mean an income structure. And the difference between the 1945 then and the 1945 now is the availability and access to the internet. Is that still going to be there? Well, I think it is. I haven't seen the internet go down in any country. We now have all these online workers that are connected. It's a vastly different array of things that we have right now to use than we had before. And so it's going to make a twist in the 1945. So to me, it's going to be like having a farm with an online business is going to be a strong way to be. It is going to be a strong thing to produce. So with no police forces around, we're back to being pioneers in the Wild West or just the untamed frontier. I just heard President Trump say yesterday that he was not going to defund police departments and things like that. I still think we're going to have law enforcement, and I think it's an important thing to have. I think they need to be retrained and restructured and revitalized. And I think yesterday when you were talking on your Another Perspective show, I very much think we should go back to community policing. We have a militarized police departments all across the country instead of community policing. And I think that community policing is an era where communities and police officers got along like we do here. We know our sheriffs and our deputies as well here. And I love many of them. They're great people. So what I'm saying for you is the time to act is now. I mean, the time to act is now. I want to let you know something. There is in the and this to me is more evidentiary versus what's going to happen. There's that bill in going into Congress, and Congress passed the bill, and it's going to the Senate, and it's going to be voted on or something in July. And it's talking about the next kind of stimulus package. And in that stimulus package, they're talking about trying to get renters like a year free of rent, and homeowners mortgages to be put at the end, a year to be put at the end of the loan without anybody getting tagged or hurt or anything else like that. Hello, Vickie and everyone. And I'm thinking this Facebook user is Ryan. Good morning, my friend. Nice to see you. And so with that there, that says something. I mean, have you ever known the U.S. government ever to say, yes, we're going to give some time for mortgages and jobs and things to catch up. We're going to give some time for these things to be, held in the future. So lastly, I want to let you know that, this part of if you become what you think, then you become what you dwell on. And if you think it's going to be, oh, it's Anna. Thank you. Hi, Anna. Nice to see you. If you think, okay, just a second. If you think in your mind that you're going to be okay and that the government's going to take care of you and you're in that dwelling, there's a part of you that isn't going to take your power back. Everybody is yelling about how to take their power back. And the real thing about taking your power back is that it's work, a lot of work. Sometimes it's hard work. Sometimes it's fun work. Sometimes it's scary work. Sometimes it's stressful work. It's a lot of work. People talk about what it takes to take their power back. And you know what? I want to do this very carefully because Scott made a comment before. And this is the comment that's really true about taking your power back. There are precious few able to live in a world like this. Very, very few. There's a lot of people that they're going to be unrest and protest and things like that. There are going to be after another certain month, or maybe there's a second wave of the virus, whatever that is right now. However, you're moving forward, you're going to have to work probably harder than you've ever worked in your life. You're going to have to put systems in place right now. You're going to have to do things you've not probably done before, or make choices that you probably wouldn't have made before. You're going to have to cut back on things that you always want to say yes to. In order to get through this, we have to restructure and take our power back when it comes to shopping, when it comes to the availability of credit, when it comes to any kind of addiction we have, whether it's, alcohol, sugar, drugs, whatever it is. We are going to have to figure out how to become peaceful and actually force yourself to become peaceful. Because right now people are dealing with stress on levels they don't even know. They're like, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay? It's like their working hour right now has gone from 40 hours a week at full-time pay, qualifying for whatever they want. Their credit scores are, good. And they're now like, hi, I'm working no hours a week, 2 hours a week, 20 hours a week. They are working so little, and they're now behind because we live paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. And that is because we haven't taken our power back. We haven't said, you know what, I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. We become so comfortable with the ease of going and putting our literal income requirements on somebody else's plate and saying, you know what, I want you to pay me instead of me to pay me. I want you to give me that instead of me give me that. We talk about what it takes to take your power back, but you know what? In every facet of our life, if we took our power back, not only would we be stronger, not only would we be safer, not only would we be courageous, we would be such a strong, recovered community just like that. And when we say take our power back, this to me is taking our power back right here. We can do it. What security systems do you have? Okay, so you're like, well, I don't like guns. Okay, I personally, I'm an ex-cop. You guys know it. I'm okay with guns. I think every woman in the world should have the opportunity to learn to use firearms. I just think that's it. What kind of security do you have? What kind of, do you have a dog? Do you have something? What's your security system? What's your food system? When you take your power back, you want your security system, your sanitation system, your food system, your income system. How do you get your income system? All of these things, that's taking your power back. And your medical system, that's taking your power back. And when you're in your community and you're like, where do I get my milk? Do I get it from the farmer or do I pretend to get it from the store? Do I what? It's going back to 1945 and you have been warned ahead of time. And that means you can implement stuff right now, right now. Thank you for this. I agree. Again, take our power back. Yes. So, yes, we need to take our power back. We all have so much potential and we don't even know it. From Anna. Thank you, Anna. And this is a big deal right here. We have been trained to think of ourselves as sheeple, like weak. We have been trained to think the words that we dwell upon, which are I can't, not I can. And we have been trained to think by other people so that we can't think for ourselves, so that we can't choose ourselves in the moment. It's like we have to follow the leader. When do you become the leader that you follow? That's the biggie. I want to go here. All the above. The past few months have just been learning to ride with training wheels in this new paradigm. That's correct. That is absolutely correct. All of the above. The past few months have been learning to ride with training wheels in this new paradigm. Take away the training wheels, basic services and functioning supply chains, and then the real societal test ramps up. Hang on, it's going to be a bumpy ride. That's right. I want to talk to you about this. I know that most of the economists around the world, I mean, just look at Warren Buffett. Follow the money. Follow where the money got let go of. The guy let go of every single stock that he ever had inside of the airline industry. That tells you a lot. If Warren Buffett says, no way, I'm not going there. And we have every other economist saying, I've heard there's a debate. We're going back to 29, 28, 43, 45. Nothing says, hi, we're going to go back to 1970. We're going back past that. So here's what I know. The reason your resilience right now and taking your power back matters is because you're not going to have credit. Credit is going to dry up just like it did in 2008 and probably dry up in a way that it's not coming back soon. Credit is not, it's going to dry up. Banks don't and can't, they're not able to take the kind of default that would happen if we don't go back to work and things don't recover. Now, no matter what you say, whether you believe this is a hoax, whether you believe it's not really a virus, it's a bacteria, they're lying to us, whether you believe it's actually the pandemic, and they've been really clear about that, whether you believe this is all Boulder Dash and there are tunnels under the country and we're running children out of these horrible, evil places, which I really hope was happening, all of those things, whatever you believe in, you can just hold on to your belief. So I want you to hold on to your belief, put it in your lap, and then I want you to be open to this. This is a country that is $30 trillion in debt by this time the second stimulus passes. $30 trillion in debt. We've seen oil at a negative $54 this year. It's up a little bit more, but we've seen negative numbers for oil. The reserve currency is the US dollar. And if you are the US dollar and you're no longer the reserve currency in this country, the dollar is worth about 3 or 4 cents. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute, because we have numbers of unemployed people that are greater than there was in 1929. We have incidences in the world right now that could very easily remove us from being the reserve currency. And there will be no credit and valueless money. No credit and valueless money. And when I said, how are you taking care of your income? I didn't mean go get a job or start a business. I mean income all around, all of income. So when you look at that, we were headed for a financial calamity despite this virus or this hoax or this bacteria or whatever you believe it is. It doesn't matter what this pandemic has done. This was inevitable. It's that the pandemic sped it up, that this time was going to happen, just sped it up. So when you take your power back, you're going to have to figure out how to take your income streams. And I would make a priority list. If you don't do this now, your choice is either to sink or swim. What are you going to do? Are you going to take your power back? And if you say, well, I don't know how to do this, and I don't know, do one thing that you do know how to do. To me, the number one thing that you have to do first is learn to grow food. I don't care where you are. I don't care where you are, if you're in an apartment, if you're in a condo, if you're in a townhome, if you're in a small house, if you're in a big grandiose place, if you're on a farm, then you already know how to grow food. But growing food is going to be the number one thing that you need to do, because food is going to get so expensive. Just a second. Food will be so expensive. And you're going to have to make a choice. With the money you have coming in, do you want electricity? Do you want food? Do you want the internet? Do you want the roof over your head? So if you can grow your food, you're taking one less bill and being able to say, okay, I can do something else with the food money. I can move it to here. You have to go ahead and think about what taking your power back is. But no matter what you say, you're going to have to take care of you and you and you, because nobody is coming to save you. No one. The government's broke. It gets its money from us. How much have we been working this year? How much taxes do you think people are going to owe this year? How are they going to run that? And if this situation happens for more than 2 years, think about that. How much money are they getting? Yes, Anna, so true. Taking your power back will help us as well as those around us. Yes. Look at this. Hoax or not, whatever it is, the changes are coming. It's just best to be prepared. Thank you, Scott. This is the most important thing right here. Hoax or not, whatever it is, the changes are coming. It's just best to be prepared. It totally is. Donnie says they returned to the Colorado homestead, and it was then everything had changed. My grandfather had his Missouri farm taken from him by the government before he met my grandmother. And now here they were again trying to feed the people. But even that became difficult when we're not even allowed to give the food away. Yeah, and you have to understand there are going to be government pressures that are going to happen that we don't know about. Down, you have obviously learned incredible life lessons from your grandmother. Yeah, she was a wise woman. And you have taken those lessons and built upon them. So wise you are. I mean, it really is true. All of that lessons about what your grandmother did or what your great grandmother did, those are the things you're going to want to apply right now. And I know all of this is like, we're not going to be there. That's not going to happen. And so I want to let you know, whatever you think about is what you become, whether it's a bitter, whether it's, aloof, whether it's angry, whether it's action taking, whatever it is that you do, that's what you're going to become. You're going to become whatever you dwell on. That attitude of, that's not going to happen. Then you're becoming disbelief. When you take a look at it and say, what can I do? I don't know what to do. You're becoming fear and fearful. Whatever you dwell upon, you become. So this is the thing. We talk about this all the time. And now more than ever, it is the most important thing you can do. You are either going to have thoughts that are going to impair your abilities or empower your abilities. So you want to take your power back. The first thing you need to do is stop you and start looking at and saying, what am I dwelling on? What am I dwelling on right now? If you're dwelling on Netflix and everything else, and you're not dwelling on anything else, if you're not dwelling on having an income stream, if you're not dwelling on how to repair the things that are happening in the world, if you're not dwelling on what's the next 5 years going to be like. And for me, you want to make sure that it's not 5 years. You need a decade plan, 10 years, a 10-year plan right now. You need a 10-year plan to restructure all of those things that you're going to be enabled to take your power back with. Because all the supply chains in the world, even if somebody is running at full capacity and you're like going out to dinner and having a barbecue for dinner or whatever you're doing at Wayne's Barbecue Shack, actually. So you're having dinner and everything else. Those things are, most people are going to slowly slow down their doing that, those things that they're doing. You need other income sources other than one. Don't just have one income source. That's the most dangerous thing. You want to take care of your income. You want to take care of your food supply. You want to take care of your water supply. You want to become as independent as possible. That's taking your power back. That's when you're a patriot. That's when things around you can change. I want to share that with you today. It is more important than anything else that you sit down and ask yourself those two questions. What do I want? How am I going to get it? How am I going to take my power back? All right, that's what I have for you today. Mwah! I'll see you guys tomorrow. We have, his last name is Flukinger, and I have to say it. But tomorrow we have Kellen, and this guy is absolutely the most powerful, amazing dude. This guy cheats death. But tomorrow he's going to share with you a bit about being able to, grab yourself and take your power back. This guy is the man to do it. He is Mr. Take Your Power Back. All right, you guys, I love you all. See you tomorrow for Wednesday Welcome. Mwah! Talk to you later. Bye.